What's up, guys? This is my Persona. What's up, guys? This is my Persona 24 here, back with another video for you guys. This video is going to be a first impressions video on a game that I just recently beat, a game that I love, a game that I waited for about 2 years and 2 delays, a series that I love. If you know me, then you know I love this series. And that game would be Persona 5. Now, before I get into this game, I'm just going to tell you a little bit how I got into the Shin Megami Tensei series. Now, I've known about Shin Megami Tensei since about like 2009. My first taste of Shin Megami Tensei was Shin Megami Tensei 1 and 2 on a Super Famicom emulator. That was my first introduction into the world of Shin Megami Tensei. I never beat them, however, because, I wasn't too big into RPGs, but I did like them. I just love the darkness, like the dark feeling in those games. They were more like dungeon crawlers. They had really creepy music. I just dug it. But a couple years later, one of my friends told me about this series called Persona. He's like, you ever heard about Persona? I'm like, I've never heard of this series you're talking about. I don't know what Persona is. So he starts telling me about it, and I'm just like, you know what, this actually sounds interesting. This is catching my attention. I want to try this series. So about like a year later, I went and I picked up Persona 4, because that was the one that he was telling me about. I still wasn't that big into RPGs at the time, but I'm like, it never hurts to try. So I get it in the mail. As soon as I get it in the mail, I throw it into my PS2, play it, and I fall in love with it instantly. Even though the game starts off really slow, I still fell in love with it. Just everything about that game was amazing to me, and still is. And a little afterwards, I'd say about a month or two later, I beat the game. And I just officially fell in love with the series after that. About, I'd say a few months after that, I got Persona 3. I played it, I beat it, and that one kind of took, place as my favorite Persona game over Persona 4. And then after that, I played Persona 4 Arena. It's a fighting game, I loved it, beat it, and then I played Persona Q. I bought it a week after it launched. And I bought it for $50 off Amazon, and I like it. I haven't beat it. I'm still playing it actually, and I got this 2 years ago, and I still haven't beaten it. But I will one day. It's really challenging. Persona Q takes it back to dungeon crawling style, of the Shin Megami Tensei older games that I was mentioning before. But anyway, to Persona 5 now. Persona 5, the Persona series in general. If you know Persona 5, if you know Persona, sorry. If you know Persona, you know that it starts off, all the games pretty much start off as you're a high school student. You're a transfer student. You're transferring to a new school. Like in Persona 3, you were transferring to Tatsumi Port Island to Gekkoukan High School. In Persona 4, you were transferring to Yamagasi High School in Inaba. And now in Persona 5, you're transferring to Shujin Academy in Tokyo, in what's it called? Shibuya. Pretty sure that's the name of the town. But it's the whole game is pretty much based in Tokyo, downtown Tokyo. You can go to Akihabara. You can go to the red light district. There's this little area called Central Street. That's where you go and get your items and your goods and whatnot, and do some activities. Before I get into that, I'm just going to get into the characters and the story. Now the story, all the Persona games have a really interesting, darker type of story. All the Persona games are pretty much about, awakening to your persona, forming bonds with the people you meet, and going in and saving people, pretty much. Like in Persona 3, you were pretty much preventing the end of the world with going in and destroying Tartarus. Persona 4, you were going inside the TV world to try to save people that were being mysteriously thrown into the TV. And you would awaken to your persona and help them. In this one, it's pretty much the same concept. You are trying to steal people's distorted desires. And by doing this, just like in Persona 4, there was another world. There was a TV world. In this one, there is the metaverse. And the metaverse is activated by an app on your phone. It's simple. You just say a few keywords and you're instantly in the metaverse. But you need to know these keywords of what your target is interested in, like what he thinks of the world, what he thinks of people. And once you're inside the metaverse, it takes you to this person's palace. So the palace is basically their distorted desires. It's filled. It's what they think. It's what they picture the world as. It's what they think they really are. They look down on other people. And that's pretty much where your characters come into play. Sorry. I had orange juice earlier, and you know that freaking feeling that orange juice leaves in your throat? That's what I'm experiencing right now. But anyway, that's where your characters come into play. You are the Phantom Thieves. You and your party members, which I'll get into the character soon, you have to steal their treasure, and which is basically their distorted desire. It's what they hold dear to them. But in the metaverse, it doesn't take form until you successfully get to them. Actually let your target know that you're gonna steal that shit, and then they get all defensive and they expect you and etc. I'm not gonna say a lot because I don't want to spoil, because that's the last thing I want to do is spoil one of my favorite series for other people. But anyway, you play as the Phantom Thieves. Your main character is the leader, of course. Then you have your other party members. Now, let me get into the characters right now. The first character you're going to be meeting is Ann Takamaki. She goes to the same school as you. She's pretty much the first person you come in contact with. But the first party member you recruit is Ryuji. Ryuji Sakamoto. He also goes to your school. He's more like the delinquent type. Ann is she comes off as the bitchy, stuck up type at first, but she's really nice, and she's the idol kind of. She's the model. She's the Rise of Persona 5 pretty much. She's under the Lover's Arcana. So, yeah. But she has a total different personality than Rise. And after Ryuji, when you're inside the metaverse with him, you will come across the mascot. And every Persona game has a mascot. Persona 4 had Teddy, Persona 3 had Konamaru. In this one, you have Morgana. He's a cat. Now Morgana, he's pretty much in the metaverse. He's trying to find his lost memories, and he's trying to find out what happened in his past. He's trying to find out who he really is. Now, that's all the characters I'm going to mention right now, because if I mention any more characters, I'm just going to end up spoiling stuff. Because if I mention stuff that happens further into the game, it's gonna, I don't know. I just don't want to spoil anything. So, I'm only mentioning the three main characters introduced in the beginning of the game. But after that, I'm going to leave that at that. Okay, I've gone over the metaverse. I've gone over characters. I've gone over the story, pretty much. Or the first part of the story. What I want to go over next would be the personas. Now, if you never played Persona, if you don't know what personas are, the personas are pretty much, your inner feelings. Like when the characters awaken to their personas, that's like in Persona 3 when you awaken to your persona, you had an evoker. It was like a gun. And the main protagonist put it up to his head, pulled the triggers, bam, and said his name like Orpheus. And that's when you summoned your persona, was when you said his name and pulled that trigger. A lot of people really got offended by that because, putting a gun up to your head and pulling the trigger, But yeah, I guess there was a huge uproar about that. But yeah, I don't know. I could see why people find that offensive, but whatever. Anyway, that's how you summoned your persona, was that. And in Persona 4, you pretty much just had the card in your hand, you squeezed down on it, you said their name, you said your persona's name, and they came alongside and fought with you. Now, there is another step in this, which is accepting your persona, accepting your true self in order to have your persona fight with you. So you pretty much have your persona. In Persona 4, you are faced with your shadow. And it's pretty much your other self. It was your persona in your shadow's form. So it was like be you, version of you, but a shadow. Like all like distorted and like, yellow eyes and stuff. And you'd have to, if you denied the shadow, you would have to fight it. So, pretty much every freaking character goes and denies their shadow, and you gotta fight each freaking shadow. That was so annoying in Persona 4. But I was just like telling Yukiko and everybody, accept your damn self! Accept yourself! What do? They go and decide to deny themselves. So, yeah. But then afterwards, they end up accepting themselves. Blah, 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 blah. But, yes, you got to accept your inner self. It's different in this one, however, pretty much your persona comes out. Like, for the protagonist, it comes out when you rage. It comes out when adults talk down to you. So that's pretty much when you have enough, you awaken to your persona, you stick up for yourself, and you pretty much tell them off. Then your nice big cutscene comes, badass music playing in the background, and then you end up awakening to your persona. This happens for pretty much all the characters in this game, and I really like that because it wasn't as intense in the other games. Like in Persona 3, you never even awoken to your persona. Only the main character did, but everybody else in the game was already using a persona at the time. So, yes. Now there are other personas in the game, other than your main personas, that the main character can acquire and collect, kind of like Pokemon. Now, the main character is the only one that can do this because he has the power of the wild card. He is pretty much the chosen one, if you would say. So he has the ability to grab other personas after he's done fighting the shadows, collect them, and switch between them. There's ice personas. There's ones that use ice, fire, wind, electricity. There's just a bunch of different attributes and stuff, stats to use against other different enemies that you're fighting. So to get to know your enemy's weakness. Like, you can't just use a fire persona throughout the whole game and expect to win. You gotta switch that shit up. And one of the personas that I always use is Jack Frost. Like, he has been around since Persona 3, I think. I think that's when he was first introduced as Persona 3. And that's the persona I always end up going after first and acquiring, because he is just extremely freaking adorable, and he is, mascot worthy. I'm not sure if he was ever a mascot. I don't know every little thing about Persona, even though I'm a big fan, but I'm not sure if he ever was considered a mascot, but he totally freaking could be. If Konohamaru did not exist in Persona 3, Jack Frost totally could have been the mascot. Just saying. But, yeah, Jack Frost, he is an ice persona. He uses ice, of course. And then you have King Frost. He is pretty much the bumped up version of Jack Frost. I have both of them in every Persona game. Ice personas are my main go-to, just like how water Pokemon are my main go-to. So yes, that's pretty much what personas are. They're Pokemon, if you want to put it like that. You can collect them, you can use them. Now, battle system. I'm going to go over the battle system now. Now, in previous games, they were simple. You know, you just go in, you press attack, you can use items, etc. But, you know, you had options like set everybody to all-out attacks, or not all attacks, automatic. Like, you can have it to where your teammates automatically attack for themselves, or you can make it to where they're under your order, so you can physically control them, just like a classic turn-based RPG. That's usually what I do, because I like to have full control of my party. That's what I do through all the Persona games. But you see, in Persona 5, the battle system is added to a lot. I mean, just in Persona 4, really your only special thing you could do, and Persona 3, was being able to do an all-out attack. And that is when you hit your enemy's weakness, like a certain amount of times, you had the ability to do a huge attack with all your teammates, you know, and just like devour your enemies. In this one, you have 3 options. Or 2, no 3. You have the all-out attack option. It lets you get done knocking your enemy down and finding the weakness. Or you have the talk option, which allows you to do 3 things. You can have them lend you your power, lend you their power. You can have them give you an item, or you can have them give you money. Now, if you have them give you your power, if you have them give their power to you, I'm just having such a hard time right now, then you'll acquire their masks, and then you'll get the persona, and you'll get to use them. Okay, now if you have them give you an item, you'll get, you know, items that you cannot acquire through other places. Like, you'll get special items. You'll get items that, you know, you can't get in stores, which I usually do, because items are, like, really useful in this game, just like every other RPG out there, but especially in this game. Always make sure you have good items. And then there's the money option. Now, this is a gamble. It's like, you know, you can either get, you know, like 50 yen, 500 yen, or you can get like 200,000 yen. It depends on, you know, the palace and the shadow. Like, let's say you're in a bank, you'll get a lot of money. But yes, that's pretty much. Other than that, the battle system is pretty much, you know, still has the same feeling to it as previous games. They also brought back guns. Now, there were guns in previous Persona games. I think it was the second one that had guns. I've only played a little bit of the older Persona games, so I don't know a lot about them. But I believe the second Persona game had it where you could use guns. And that is pretty cool that they brought it back, because now that you know how you equipped weapons, you can buy different guns now. It's like, this is my first time ever, like, you know, experiencing being able to buy different guns in a Persona game. So that was really cool. So like, you can use your gun if you can easily find a Shadow's weakness if you use a gun, surprisingly. But yes, that was for the. That covers the battle system. That's all I'm going to talk about the battle system, because I'm messing my words up here because I'm starting to talk too fast. I'll slow down. Next thing I want to cover is the Velvet Room. Now, the Velvet Room is in every Persona game. There's always a Velvet Room. It takes shapes. It takes different shapes. You know, it could be an elevator, like in Persona 3. It could be the freaking back of a limousine, like in Persona 4. Now, inside the Velvet Room is always an old guy, an old bald dude with a long pointy nose, creepy looking wide eyes. He usually introduces himself. Welcome to the Velvet Room. My name is Igor. This place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. Yeah. That was kind of a shitty expression, but whatever. Impression. Now, other than Igor, there are residents, which are pretty much their servants. His servants, pretty freaking much. Like, Persona 3, you had Elizabeth. In Persona 4, you had Margaret. In Persona 5, you got Justine and Caroline. So yes, you have two. You have two assistants in Persona. Igor has two assistants in Persona 5. Caroline and Justine. They're interesting. Like, Caroline is very mean. She beats the shit out of you when you go into the Velvet Room. Like, she kicks you through the door. So yeah, I'm not too fond of Caroline. Justine's fine. But the Velvet Room is pretty much a place you go to fuse personas. So all the personas you collect, you can go there and you can fuse them and form different personas. So you're pretty much just sacrificing personas you already have for different personas. And they also have an option in this one where you can sell your personas and buy them back. I have not done that at all. I did not do that once with my whole playthrough because I totally forgot about it. But, you know, I'm going to play through it again someday, so I probably will try that out. But yeah, fusing personas has it to where you can acquire higher level personas, and that really comes in handy. So I highly recommend you fuse personas in all the Persona games. That's how I got Jack Frost. I fused him. I did not capture him in Metaverse. I fused two different personas to get him. So yeah. What else about the Velvet Room? Now, like I said before, how they all take different shapes and like different appearances. In this one, it's a jail. Like, you're a prisoner pretty much. You're behind a jail. You're behind bars when you're talking to Igor and doing all this. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm in jail. Yeah, that was really different compared to an elevator or a limousine. You know, in previous games, you're pretty much a guest in the Velvet Room. In Persona 5, you're like a prisoner. But yes, okay. That's all about the Velvet Room I shall mention. I should have the Velvet Room music playing in the background instead of the menu music, but whatever. Next up will be the map. I think this will be the last thing I talk about. Now, the map in this game, compared to other Persona games, is really big. You have a lot of different areas to go to and hang out with your friends. Like, you got Central Street, like I mentioned before, which is your go-to place at the beginning of the game to get items, you know, go to restaurants, go to the movie theater, go to the airsoft shop, which has your guns and your items, or, I mean, your accessories for your characters, and your guns, your swords, all your weapons, is you go to the airsoft shop for. What else is there? There's a DVD store. You can go there. You can rent DVDs if you have a TV in your room. So yes, you can watch movies in the game too. That's all ways to enhance your stats, your skills. Like you have knowledge, you have proficiency, you got courage, charm, and guts. I think that's all of them. Pretty sure. I only maxed out knowledge, and I got pretty high with courage and charm, but I never maxed them out. But you can max them out doing certain things like studying, working out, reading books, watching movies, playing video games, etc. Back to the map. I kind of went off there. The map, like I said before, is bigger. You got Central Street, you got Akihabara, you got the Red Light District. These are all places you can go to. And then you have the back alley, which is behind Cafe LeBlanc, which is the first place you actually go to in the game. Um, Now, you can go to all these places with your friends. There's also places you unlock, but you cannot go to unless you're with your friend. Like, the only time you go there is when you're hanging out with your friend and, like, leveling up a social link. Now, I guess I can mention social links. Social links are things that you form with your party members and other people, like other people throughout the game. They don't have to be in your party. You can be friends with people at school. There's a lot of different social links throughout the game. I have only done a few. I maxed out a few of the main characters. I believe I maxed out Ryuji, An, Futaba, Morgana. I'm not sure how else I maxed out. I know I maxed out a couple more. I forget. But once you max them out, you can you max them out and you reach the top level of your friendship. Let's for example, when you're doing it with a girl, when you're talking to a girl in the game and you max it out, you have the option to romance her and be her boyfriend. Now I did this with An, because An is come on, An is like the hottest chick in the game. And I did it with Futaba, which I should not have. I made a mistake doing it with two chicks, because in all the Persona games, I always end up making my character a playa. I mean, it never fails. I always go after all the girls in the freaking game. This time I just went over after An and Futaba. In the game, a Valentine's part happens. Valentine's Day. I got my ass kicked by Futaba. She came up, barged into the door, told me off, and then in the next scene, the main character's laying face down on the floor with the bar stools around him. So I'm guessing Futaba kicked my ass. But anyway, that covers that. That's pretty much the gist of social links. You level them up, you max out your friendship, your party members can do certain things for you in battle once you max out your friendship with them. Take blows for you. And, do other stuff. But yeah, so those were social links. Now, let me think of something else to talk about. This video is almost 30 minutes. I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to talk about the game. I guess I'll go over my final impressions on what I thought. What was my main thoughts about the game? Now, would I recommend this game? Hell yes, I would, because it's an amazing game. How does it hold up to the other games? It blows them out of the fucking water. I mean, I love all the previous Persona games. I mean, Persona 3 and Persona 4 especially, since those are the main ones I've played a lot. Now I gotta say that this one tops both of them in pretty much every way. My list now goes Persona 5, Persona 3, Persona 4. It's just an amazing series. Atlas outdid themselves with this one here. I mean, they made us wait. I was losing hope there for a little bit. Oh man, it's never gonna release, blah blah blah. A couple months later, I finally get my hands on it. Woo! I was so happy. I mean, it was 112 hours of pure awesomeness. I doubt my camera's picking up the TV that good. Yeah, I have 112 hours and 41 minutes. That's how much I put into the game. So, I dropped the case. That's how many hours I put into the game. And it was totally fucking worth it. But, yes. Anyway. I would totally recommend this. I recommend Persona to everybody. Every time I'm in a game conversation, I always end up mentioning Persona. And then I end up getting them into it, and then they thank me afterwards. So I would definitely say, if you are an RPG fan, a JRPG fan, and you're looking for a new series to try, I highly recommend Persona 5 and the Persona series in general. If you do not have a PS4 or a PS3, you can get Persona 4 Golden on the PS Vita, which is just the remaster of Persona 4 with added content. And if you don't have a PS Vita, you can go ahead and pick up the original version of Persona 4 and Persona 3 on PS2. But yes, guys, that's pretty much all for the video because I'm already at 30 minutes. I pretty much went over everything. Um, Honestly, it is a great game. I mean, I'm so happy that it finally arrived. I got it on release night. Um, I had the pre-order. I pre-ordered the collector's edition on Amazon, but when it came to like purchase it, I don't have Amazon Prime, so it came to more than I had in my account. So it came to like over $90. I only had around 80 in my account. Like, you know what? Fuck, I can't get it. So I canceled my pre-order. I went into GameStop and I just picked up a standard copy. And with that, I got the cool controller skin. I already showed this in my previous video, but yes, controller skin. Those things are going for $40 on eBay, man. It's outrageous. Just the skin. But yeah, I guess I'll end this video here. Thank you all for watching. I could go on more, but because I love Persona, but I don't want to make this video an hour. I'm already at half an hour. So I will be making another Persona video down the road, comparing Persona 5, Persona 4, and Persona 3. I'm not sure when, but it will be in the future. Now after this, I'll be recording either a collection video or a top 5 anime/manga video. But yes, thank you all for watching. It means a lot. Sorry if my rambling annoyed you. But anyway, see you guys later. Peace out. Keep gaming.